My first question actually leans into that a little because, again, I told you I love me a good genre mashup, but I feel like when you're just reading a script and a script alone, it can be very difficult to fully wrap your head around what the movie you're going to make is going to be. So when the two of you first signed on for Shell, what were some of your biggest burning questions for Max about what the tone and the vibe of this world needed to feel like?
I mean, you answered you said the question, which was my first question to Max was, I mean, it read pretty clear. The camp read pretty clear in the script because it's so wild. But it was also like, what does this look and feel like to you? And how big is it? Like, how camp is it? How far are we going? And he was very clear on his tone, and so I knew going in that I was gonna build this character that way that felt like I saw Zoe, but also really like lean on Max to trust how far to go and where I could push Zoe and all of that stuff,
Yeah. I think I was just like, how are we gonna do this? But Max didn't question it for a second, which is really incredible. And I just adore Max. And actually, when we got on Zoom for the first time, we had on the exact same outfit. And it was such a random thing, but I have a screenshot of it because I was like, this is crazy. Like, I don't know, I just felt
How did you have the same outfit?
We were
was it like a
both
white
wearing,
t-shirt?
That was my fault.
It was more complicated than that.
Okay. Like, I was like, this feels like...
I know, you're like, it's Zoom, you see, like, you're like both wearing t-shirts, that's so crazy. No, it was a white t-shirt with the same color blue, like, crew neck sweatshirt over it. I know it sounds like not that crazy.
No, but
in the
that's
moment,
crazy.
I was like...
Like, you're kind of like, both have the
Yes.
same...
And it was peeking out the same way, and I just was like, I can trust you with whatever. And like, I was just so excited.
so
and then,
funny.
of course, when you told me it was going to be you and Lizzie, and like, really the whole cast, like, Lionel has been a friend of mine for years, and so like, to be in something with him, Z-Way is hilarious and brilliant. Like, Arian, I mean, we just got such a cool cast of people, and with a film like this, like, everyone is there because they really believe in it and they want to be there. No one is there because they have to be there. And so that creates an environment that's just like pure joy.
That's true.
Yeah.
You feel that while you're watching
We
it.
do it because you do this because we love this.
Yeah.
And the people that are doing it,
Yeah.
I love the idea of how, too, at the beginning. I feel like the most exciting movies start with how, and then they leave the audience with a how. Like, how does this movie exist? And that's one of my favorite things to think.
I didn't want to interrupt what you were saying, but like as you were saying that, I just had this image of like a scene that I can't talk about because it's a spoiler, but how it was shot was so insane. It was so insane that at one point Lizzie and I were laughing so hard because it was like, what is happening right now?
And then you're like, how is this my job?
I'm fairly certain I know what scene you're talking about, and I have a million questions that I can't ask
the
today.
way it was shot, I was like, this
so
is
bad.
hilarious. And I can't wait for it to come out so I can post these things.
I have good
'cause
behind the
I've got
scenes.
really good.
I'm here for all that material when
Yeah.
the time is right.
Yeah.
Hi, I have a very specific question for you, and I'll preface this by saying I'm going to use the term small role, which I don't like, but just to make the question a little quicker and easier to deliver. But really, there are none. I was talking
Especially
to
on
Max.
this one.
Yeah.
It was for real, though. I was talking to Max the other day, and he had mentioned the fact that even though this is a smaller role, there were a lot of people out there who really wanted to play Chloe. So I am curious from your perspective, like specifically for the role and also more broadly, again, with small roles, what do you need to see in them that signals to you you'll get out of it what you want?
Oh, well, I mean, with this, like, one thing is I actually can't say anything about what happens with Chloe and her storyline, but even though she's a smaller role, she lives so much in the movie that kind of ideal for me. I was like, I worked 2 days and like, but I feel like I'm in the whole movie. I was like, this is great.
At the hair and makeup test, we were in hair and makeup together, and I was like, I'm so excited. And I was like, oh wait, we don't do anything together.
But
And
it
was so
felt,
sad.
our storylines feel so much like this. But I don't know. I really like. She felt like a great challenge for me because, I wanted her to be so much in contrast to Lizzie's character. But also you need to love her and you need to care about her for the movie to work. So it was really fun working with Max on like, little things that we could put in there to make you kind of root for her. So yeah, it really didn't feel like getting to do those scenes with Lizzie. I was like, it didn't feel insignificant to me at all. It felt very significant. And then of course her journey is wild, and I was like, the opportunity to do that, like, where do I sign, please? Yeah.
Given where she ends up, it's one of the most memorable characters I've seen at TIFF, but also you don't get that memorable ending unless you earn it with the stuff that you plant the seeds with at the start, and you do both sides of that very well.
Thank you.
Kate, I have to ask you about working with Elisabeth Moss, of course, because your character's dynamic is like essentially the spine of the movie. So can you tell me something about her as a scene partner that you appreciated and maybe helped bring something out of your own performance that you wouldn't have been able to without her?
I mean, Lizzie's such a wonderful actress and such a pro, and you know, we got along very well, and she was very open and a great scene partner. I mean, really, I think part of what we were all doing, because this is so tone specific, was really leaning into Max. So if like Lizzie and I, like I was saying, like, you know, we had moments where we're like, is this crazy? Lizzie would be like, should I, like, should you do that? Should I be doing that? What are we doing here? You know, there are moments that were so kind of wild, but Lizzie is an amazing vulnerability, and obviously my character preys on the vulnerable, and so that was a very kind of easy thing to be able to achieve, because she gave me so much of herself, and I just got to be, you know, a sociopath and you know, take from her. So yeah, I mean, she was wonderful, and
It's so much fun watching you go there with her.
Oh
My God.
so fun.
I like already see that everyone's gonna be quoting all of Zoe's lines, because you're so funny in it, and you have the best lines in the movie, and then you have like Lizzie's facial reactions, which are totally priceless.
Yeah, which you're just the audience. You're just
yeah,
like,
and then you're like, that's the audience, and then yeah.
Given what you just said before, I am curious, is there any particular thing, non-spoiler thing, that you can share right now that on set made you say, like, there's no way we're going to be allowed to do this, it's never going to make the final cut, and now it's in the finished film?
oh yeah, I mean, pulling out an enormous love missile. What is it? A secret. What was it?
I don't remember what we
A pleasure-seeking missile.
Yes.
Yeah, pulling that out of the drawer was
We're not supposed to say
definitely
dildo.
Yeah. Pulling that out of the drawer was like, is this gonna work? As you're holding it. Are we going too far? It was so fun. It was.
That's one of the best scenes.
It's just,
so
you know,
good.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
I've got 2 upcoming projects that our team wanted me to ask you about, and I'm very excited about both of these. Kaia, first for you, I'm going to ask about Outcome, Jonah Hill's movie.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with mid-90s, so I'm just so excited that he's directing that. But in addition to him, you also get to work with an absolutely stacked ensemble. I'll admit this is a little bit of an unfair question, but given how iconic so many of those actors are, is there any particular one that, you know, so far exceeded your expectations? You thought you knew what they were capable of, but then they just blew you away.
Okay. I don't know how much I can say. I've been like the biggest fan of Keanu Reeves for my whole life, in an unhealthy way at times. Like my family has had conversations with me about it.
Like, was he your first like crush kind of
first crush? I've seen all of his films. I had like
It's one of the best lines ever in Parenthood.
Oh, he's really
so great.
like I just it honestly, like, it transcended him as a human and just became like really just about me, like most things. and so he was someone where it was like, never meet your heroes. Like I have like albums of pictures of him in my phone. I had like a life-size cardboard cutout.
Did you terrify him? Was he so scared?
I didn't want to scare him.
Okay, I was like,
felt like my personality would freak him out. Because he's a really sensitive, wonderful person. But working with him and just being in the same room as him, and he's so kind and like exactly what you would hope for. That was really.
He really
that
is
was
such
really
a
special.
He's such a kind
my
man.
gosh.
Yeah, we love Keanu.
We love Keanu Reeves.
Even from this perspective, when you sit in these chairs, it can be very nerve-wracking. So I'll never forget certain people who I admire who are just like really warm and welcoming the second I walk in a room, and he's always like that.
Yeah.
I'm so, because it's devastating when someone isn't like that. And I'm sure you experience
Literally
that often.
in any setting,
Yes.
interviews or out in life, whenever someone
Gives
their
off that
first
energy.
impression is cold, like I immediately
"Ugh."
do not like you. I like you both quite a bit though for
Oh,
that
good.
case.
Good.
I do want to make sure to squeeze in one upcoming project for you too, Kate, Running Point, because I love
Yes.
James Ponsoldt, and also I'm a big women's basketball fan.
Woo!
And lately
Yes.
it feels like women's basketball has always had a fan base, but it feels like now more so
a
than
moment.
ever. It's
Having
like
a
it's
moment.
wider and wider. So what
is
does
so
it mean
great.
to you to make Running Point right now?
I was so excited. Like I was like, there's this momentum with women in basketball, but it's really women in sports. And like as an athlete, like a frustrated athlete, like my whole childhood I was a sport girl. I mean, I danced too, but like I love sports and getting a female perspective on sport, the same sort of like, it's so important. And also just like really, really supporting women in sports has been like something that I've always hoped for, and to see it in these last like 6 to 5 years has been awesome. Whether it's soccer, now women's basketball is finally getting sort of the attention that it really, and the voices that it deserves and all that. Anyway, so for me, I love this show so much. I can't wait to share it just because it's just so easy. It's just a fun 30-minute comedy. And in a world that of like the Jeannie Buss, I'm basically Jeannie Buss in a 30-minute comedy. And I think people are just going to enjoy it. I think it's going to hit all of the things that we want in something you want to binge. It has sports, it has family, it has chaos, it's all humor. All of the boys are so good, and it's like me and Brenda Song and a bunch of dudes.
Is this the one you talked about on Call Her Daddy?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that sounds like the most fun you could possibly
It was so
have.
fun, and the show is fun. You know, I hope people love it because we all want to go back and do it again and make it even crazier. So, but like, it starts off. I mean, the root of it is that I was always overlooked. Like my love and understanding of basketball, always overlooked, and then I have this shot. And that's the grounding of it, but it's really just a crazy comedy.
Oh, Simon, you said all the right keywords. Women in sports, though, getting the attention and the spotlight they deserve gives me life. So I can't wait for that. I'm gonna say huge congratulations on Shell. I feel like you're like family friendly and lots of fun and comedy, and I'm like batshit crazy stuff with incredible effects and big swings that I can't talk about right now.
Yay.
But something else.
Swings.
Congratulations.
Huge swings.
Thank you.